All right, the floor is yours, guys, and I appreciate you showing up. Just so anyone who doesn't know, this is the people from Yak Social, a social media company. They have offices locally and in Portland.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
without further ado, here they are.
Thank you, Eric.
All right.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah. How's everyone doing tonight?
Good.
Good. Thanks for being here. We're Yak Social. We're based here in Coos Bay. Have an office in Portland as well. We've been around for just over 2.5 years now. So seen some pretty steady growth over that time. My name is Paul Clem. This is Stephanie Hadley, Seth Marchant, and we're the founding members of the company. I kind of wanted to start out by gauging your guys' familiarity with social media in general. So how many of you use social media yourselves?
Right here.
How many of you know somebody who uses social media? Yeah, all right. How many of you are familiar with the application of social media, or specifically social media advertising for a business? Okay. Well, we'll definitely touch on that in terms of what our services are, what we offer, some of the strategies we implement for businesses, and how some of that works. We'll do a Q&A session after our kind of initial presentation here. So if you could, if you have questions, just hold your questions until we're done. I mean, if there's anything too pressing that we're touching on, feel free to ask. But we'll do a Q&A after. So we'll start out by kind of talking about our story and how our company started. So the three of us actually worked together for a social media marketing company up in Portland. Probably about 5 or 6 years ago now. It's been quite a while, and from there, that's how we met. From there, we had an opportunity to go to another company that was just starting in a similar, doing similar services, doing social media advertising, and we basically built that company to 500 plus clients. We all kind of ascended into leadership roles, and it got to a point where we felt like we could do a better job on our own. There was no leadership. Clients were being treated well, which ultimately is, top priority for us. We felt like employees weren't being treated, the way they should be, and ultimately, from where we were in the company at that point, we felt like we were in a position where we could step away and just do things better. And so that kind of was the start of Yak Social. And we ended up opening an office in Coos Bay, and that's kind of where Stephanie comes in. If you want to elaborate on that.
Absolutely. So some of you may know Sarah Stevens over at ORCA, Oregon Coast Community Action. She relayed to me that there was a major need in the community for jobs that paid more than minimum wage, for people that maybe didn't have a master's or were a doctor. And we knew, as people that had grown teams, had, like Paul said, in leadership roles and trained people, that we could bring what we do to this community and train people so that they could make more than a living wage. And so that's what we set out to do. In 2015, Ann Kubasich, the president of the Ford Family Foundation, gave an interview at the Oregon Leadership Summit in Portland. She spoke about the challenges facing rural Oregon: declining timber revenues, lack of public services, and small business retention and expansion. There's a general rule that for every one job that we create in rural Oregon, it has the impact of 100 jobs in a city like Portland. So we knew that if our employees were able to take home more money, they had more money to spend in the community, they would maybe eat out more. They maybe tip their waiter a little bit more. Maybe they take their kiddos to the movies. That's going to spread throughout our community. So that became the goal. is to get our employees here to affect the community. We have an employee that we hired on. He started with us a year and a half ago. We hired him. He was living in a homeless shelter. Recently, he bought his first car off the lot at Tower Ford, impacted that business locally. He now rents an apartment. He has an amazing savings. He's actually doing something with his life. And a year and a half ago, he didn't know what that looked like. And that's why we're here, is to impact the community in Coos Bay. So we have a sales team here. We have a sales team of 6 folks. And the unique thing about Yak Social is that we work with clients all over the country. So we're bringing new dollars into Coos Bay. We're not recycling money through other businesses. We're actually bringing money into the area and impacting us locally.
Yeah, so Paul and I are in our Portland office, Stephanie being in the Coos Bay office. And so when we started out, we did start out with 2 different locations, which did bring some challenges, but there was also benefits as well. And so Paul and I are up in the Portland office kind of managing things there. Stephanie started things in the Coos Bay office. And essentially what we do is we help other businesses get more business online, which consists mostly of social media these days. Most web traffic, or at least the majority of web traffic in 2017 to websites came from social, rather than just like search engines, for example.
Quick question, isn't that like 80% basically? I remember seeing like 80 or 70% goes through social media.
Of all web traffic?
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what the number is, but it's over half of web traffic is coming somewhere from social right now.
It was
So
52% last year.
yeah. So as Paul mentioned, we all worked for a few other companies actually together. We saw an opportunity for growth in this industry. As everybody here probably knows, people use the internet more and more all the time. People are spending most of their time on the internet looking at social media websites, which is where people are connected. So we saw a huge opportunity to do this on our own, do it better, like Paul said, than some of our predecessors. And there was definitely challenges and setbacks, in trying to grow and scale as we went along. Actually lost a business partner along the way, which was definitely challenging when you have to part ways from a business partner. So we certainly had our ups and downs, but decided to go into a growing industry that we knew was something that was going to be an integral part of business for other businesses in the future. A lot of businesses now get their business from the internet, and a lot of the internet is social. So there's always some ups and downs, and I'll tell you that is anybody else, are people in here business owners? Is there any business owners in here? Business owner? Yeah. It definitely helps as a business owner to have partners to be able to lean on. I don't know if you guys work on your own, but it's definitely tough to do on your own. So anybody's ever thinking about going into business for themselves, it definitely helps to have other people to be able to lean on. But you have to rely on other people too. And if those people don't, I guess if they just don't fit in anymore, so to speak, then sometimes you have to part ways. So we did have to do that at one point, but and we had some growth that wasn't quite growth anymore, but we overcame that. That there is some ups and downs, but part of overcoming that is communication and working together as a team. A lot of the answers that you're trying to find, whether as business owners or inventors, oftentimes are not just going to come from within. That the answers are going to come from outside, learning from other people, collaborating with other people. So that's been a huge benefit to be able to work with other people and growing this business. And that's how we're growing as well too, is by feeding off of each other. And I think we all have a pretty good balance of strengths and how we work well together. And so Yeah, I guess where we're at right now is we're growing. We've been growing since kind of inception, but it does get hard to scale. Getting that 4th employee, that 5th employee, that 6th employee, that 10th employee, you do get to a point to where it's a little bit harder to get that 10th employer or 12th employee than that 4th or 5th. So scaling is a struggle. It's a struggle to sometimes find people too in this industry. This is a very new thing. It's not something that a lot of us grew up with. Even myself, I'm 36. So even when I was coming up in school, there really wasn't much talk about the internet or even use of computers when I was in school. So finding people that are in this industry, although it's a growing, budding industry, it can sometimes be tough because nobody comes up going to school to be in this industry. So those have been some of the challenges too, is to find the right people to fit within our group. But it is a growing industry, so there's definitely more people that have this interest. And we've had some good luck in Coos Bay. Portland is a big hub for all things internet related, so there's a lot of people in Portland.
I'm just a little naive. What do you do?
So we primarily do social media, and a lot of that is Facebook. So we primarily create advertising for other businesses to get other businesses more customers. So in short, we do advertising online.
How do you differentiate yourself from my doing that myself?
A lot of ways. If we're comparing ourselves to a novice or as opposed to a competitor, depends on how knowledgeable somebody is. I mean, then it's going to start with experience and expertise. It's definitely not something that's very simple to do. You can probably liken it to any other skill. If you've never built a house before and you try and build a house, there's going to be a learning curve. And this is no different, except the learning curve might be a lot steeper. So it's something that takes a lot of experience and expertise, and you can't just go online and create an ad and figure out how to target that ad and write a copy and a creative that's going to actually draw people in that you're trying to target to accomplish the goal that you want to accomplish, whether that's selling something through a shopping cart or booking something or capturing a lead like for a realtor. Everything is going to require a different strategy with different targeting, and it's become a very highly competitive industry. So you're competing with other ads as well too. So you might not have a very good ad, but if you were 10 years ago early in the game, and not very good ad might be enough to get the job done. But now when it's super competitive and a lot of other people are doing ads, your ads are going to have to be a bit better than the next person. So a lot of it comes down to experience and expertise.
So I would classify Facebook as, you're primarily using Facebook, is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
As far as its platform, how do you feel as far as the fact that it's been in existence for a long time, and there's more folks like me who are on Facebook than there are, I would say, younger folks like him.
Now that we're on Instagram
And everything else, so
Well,
Facebook
just
just
like to feel about
their value.
Yeah,
So
that's kind of a misconception.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the growth, you're correct, the growth for your demographic currently is more rapid than the growth for, say, millennials. It's because those people are already there in the first place.
Right.
And it's true that a lot of people use Instagram now, but the reason why we use Facebook is because more people use Facebook and more people spend time on Facebook than anywhere else.
Don't more people have more disposable income on Facebook versus Instagram?
Well, here's the thing too. Facebook owns Instagram, and it's a part of the
Yeah,
same
that's true.
advertising
That is
network.
true.
So any ad campaign that we create for a client is going to show up on Instagram as well.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be seen as much because people spend more time on Facebook. I mean, yes, there's an older age demographic, say 40 plus, that's been growing more rapidly. But the millennial age demographic, early 20s, late 30s, that demographic hasn't been declining on Facebook. It just hasn't been growing as quickly. And people are more active on a platform like Instagram because it's more personal. People post more. It's a little more private. But people spend more time on Facebook browsing. people may not be posting as much as they did.
Yeah,
Two,
I don't
three.
post on there anymore.
Yeah, but
Like, I
but
don't
but
even use it anymore.
but people get on there and browse. They see updates from anywhere from news outlets to companies they follow to their friends, just to stay updated with what's going on. And people use it a little more passively. But regardless, the viewers are there, and businesses are still reaching people. Whereas people may not be as active. They're still on there, engaging.
So here's my question. I've been involved with computers since the beginning of time, so I understand all of this, what you're talking about. And really all I'm hearing in a sense is just a different way of networking that I would consider going to conferences and things like that. Because somebody of my age, when I go to conferences, even today, last year, I probably know about half the people in that room in the conference, and there could be 1,500 employees, 1,500 people there, because they know of me from a long period of time and been a socialite. So I see the search engines and things like this, the social media, really just kind of an extension of that now you're getting a more broader field, rather, let's say, a narrow one, which I would deal with in engineering, and those might products be set, but now you're dealing with this engineering, real estate, and everything else. So now, if I go on to, let's say, people still use Google, how are they go from Google to Facebook and then look at my ad to say, I want to buy your product,
Yeah,
or I'm interested in your product? So yeah, exactly. How far away are you distancing yourself from those kind of searches?
It's
I just blew it up for you here.
no, I
No,
mean,
no,
it's-
that's okay.
you could say it's apples and
2
oranges.
second silence.
It's two separate things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Google is a search engine, so
Right.
that's an active form of advertising. People that go to Google are looking for something specifically,
Right.
right? And when they're looking for something, they're very likely to take a sort of buyer's action, make a phone call, book something,
Right.
buy something, that they're in a buyer's mode, whereas Facebook or social is passive. It's just simply a place where everybody hangs out, like the TV,
Right.
like the radio. You just want to go where the people are at, and that's where people are spending the most amount of time. And then it's just a matter of capturing their attention, because people don't go to Facebook to really search for things. They just scroll through their news feed and they see things that they're connected to, groups, friends, pages they like. And as they're doing that, they do see ads, and you want to be able to create an ad that's going to capture somebody that wasn't planning on seeing your ad. So it's a passive form of advertising as opposed to an active form of
Well, that's
advertising.
what I'm wondering is because you're talking about it as a passive, so somebody like Joe who does vacuum cleaners and things like that, and he presents that ad that comes out there on your social media, does it wind up being a passive ad in the sense of saying, oh yeah, I'm scrolling through and all of a sudden Dyson comes out with a new vacuum machine and you can buy it at Joe's? That's the thing that you gotta figure out, whereas if I go into Google and I go say, I'm looking for vacuum cleaners in Coos Bay, okay, boom, it's gonna go to Joe right away because he's Google. So you
Yeah.
see what I'm saying is that you're kind of saying two things at the same time. From my perspective is that you have a search engine that says, I'm looking for homes in Coos Bay, so I go to Zillow, and
Yeah.
that's what I look for.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't associate looking for a vacuum cleaner on Facebook.
So
unless
people buy
you-
stuff all the time that they're not necessarily planning on buying.
Mhm.
That's probably the big thing that
Okay.
propels something like social media. Okay, people buy stuff that they think they need, like a vacuum cleaner, but then they also buy stuff that they don't really need.
Right.
Especially lately, people will buy what you see, like a T-shirt or something online that you weren't shopping for, but you liked it, and so
Wayfair is a good example. I mean, I see them, oh,
Sure.
by the way, here's the bathroom fixture, and all of a sudden, they're buying a sofa
Yeah.
because the shipping is free. It's like-
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so.
And if people didn't buy that stuff, then there would be no money in social media, and people wouldn't advertise on Facebook. So it's kind of the difference between waiting for somebody who's looking for a vacuum, and in that case, you're just waiting for them to look for one, and you show up in a search engine, you want to show up high enough that they pick you,
Right.
as opposed to if you could somehow predict maybe when somebody's going to buy a vacuum and show them an ad maybe just a few weeks before, a month before, or even before they could do that search.
So I guess the question we would probably like to know is how would you do that? If it's as a passive thing, as saying, as you're reading their social media things, they're saying, well, I gotta clean my house next week because my parents are showing up.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, now an ad comes on and saying, buy a Dyson at Joe's, So that's what I'm asking, is that really kind of the direction you're looking at?
Well, there's thousands of ways to target people on Facebook. There's no way that it's that telepathic,
Okay.
you know. But again, I would compare it back more to like television or radio, in that that's where everybody's at. So you're able to hit a lot of people. So even if some of the people aren't thinking about buying a vacuum, just by sheer numbers, you're going to hit some that are. So the targeting is very specific. Target people by age, sex, location, likes, interests, education, employment, all sorts of
So what's the
things.
difference between going through you guys and me just going through Facebook myself?
Same answers I gave him: experience and expertise.
Yeah, experience, expertise. I mean, it's an ever evolving, ever changing platform.
Yeah.
Can you wow us with your examples?
What's that?
Can you wow us with some examples you have? You have video.
Like study examples. Curious.
I don't know if we could wow you, because
You want my dollars, you better wow.
well, the people that get wowed are the people that get targeted by our ads.
I think what that means, like a particular business who's
Yeah.
increased by
Like-
their business by 10 or 20%.
Yeah, like they're barely making anything, and then like,
And they, yeah,
like if you guys helped out a Kickstarter.
yeah,
You're successful.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. So I'll address some maybe common myths. If you don't have a product that doesn't sell and you've never sold it before, you're not just going to be able to put it on Facebook and all of a sudden it's magically going to sell. If you have something that's proven, that's been sold, particularly online, that's sold through a website, you will be able to sell more of it through social media. So it's not magic. It's not going to make something sell that nobody wants to buy and all of a sudden they see it on Facebook, now they want to buy it. Facebook is just a way to reach more people like the people that you've sold to in the past.
But I think also, like, say, you just start out and your product is good, but nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are looking into that, because there's a lot of people here that start out at a small scale and they want to get their foot in the door so they get more exposure, but they don't have where they can pay for like TV
Yeah.
ads or
Yeah.
anything like that. They want to start
Like,
out maybe
'cause
with
Instagram
$1,000
tells
bucks.
you, like, if you pay $1 for how many days you can reach this many thousand people,
Mhm.
that sort of thing. Like, do you guys like have like a
Yeah,
guarantee?
Facebook and no, there's not a guarantee, but Facebook, because they own Instagram, same thing with Facebook. They give you a rough idea based on how much money you're going to spend, how many people you'll reach. It is, again, it's a marketplace. You're competing with other ads.
Yeah.
That changes by the minute, by the hour, by the day. And to his point, it's a great place to increase your exposure and to have people know about your business that didn't know before. But you're not going to be able to just spend a couple $100 on Facebook and take a product that's never been sold before and all of a sudden you're a millionaire overnight. I mean, that's sometimes some of the common misconceptions. It's a way to start, but it's still going to be a process to get more people to know about your product, to buy into it, to learn about it, to think about it, and then eventually maybe they buy it.
Because I know for us, like a lot of us like look into using Kickstarter and stuff, like so like. Because I've seen a lot of like branding campaigns on Facebook. Like that's how I learned about most Kickstarter stuff is through Facebook, and like those new products that I never thought I needed, and like, whoa, now I need this for Christmas,
People buy stuff all the time that they don't need.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's otherwise it would be all search engine
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
In which case, people are just buying stuff they're already looking for.
Yeah.
I think to ask what we're kind of hinting around is that you based it here in Coos Bay. Question one is why. You're in the middle of nowhere, as we all know here, And I guess the other question is, in a sense, we're kind of looking to see, okay, you established yourself here, and I guess what successes did you have here in such a way, that it helped out a company, because some of us have our small little companies that we probably would have liked to have expanded to other areas. But I just get a sense of exactly how that would be supporting somebody here in Coos Bay, let's say, or North Bend.
Well, as far as, I'll let you talk a little bit more about Coos Bay since you're, but as far, just so you guys, I don't think we explained this yet, but the vast majority of the people we work with are all across the United States.
Oh, okay.
Everything that we do is online,
Oh.
and so we have clients all across the United States. A handful of people maybe that are local and in Oregon, but part of our sales team, which is in Coos Bay, calls businesses all across the country and offers our services. So we don't do too much face-to-face with most businesses. So we're really not limited by our location, but I can let Stephanie kind of talk about why we chose to have an office,
We
one of our offices
absolutely
here.
work with clients locally. Typically, they reach out to us. Our sales team here, like the reason that we are in Coos Bay is economic development and to bring jobs to the community. That's like the number one reason why we looked at this area. Because again, we knew that with the product we're selling, with Facebook being the biggest thing, we could train people here that would have a really good job. We have a great commission plan. We incentivize our clients. We have an awesome culture. But we absolutely work with clients all over North America, really. So we definitely have worked with local businesses here. Typically, they walk in our door and we have a conversation with them about how they can help us. So if you guys haven't heard about us, that's probably why. Eric reached out to us to come in and talk to you guys about social media, and we thought that was a great way for us to share with what we do. And again, like even we met some businesses tonight earlier that we'll probably be connecting with to help in the future. So we're obviously always available for that conversation if you guys do need direct support.
Yeah, I actually was surprised that there was a social media, any kind of offices here to begin with.
Yeah.
I was looking for computer web development, app development, because these are some of the things that have been asked about, and I want and social media. So yeah, but yeah, continue please, Scott.
Can you give some testimonials about success stories that you've created in your for your clients, or what kind of clients and what kind of successes you have with them?
Sure. I mean, like to believe that all of our clients are a success story one way or the other. I would say probably about 3/4, maybe 2/3 of our business is with real estate professionals, and we've created a pretty nominal cost service for realtors all around the country that is getting them leads, which, if you're a real estate professional, you want your name on the billboard, you want to get your name out there and stuff, but at the end of the day, you want to make a connection with somebody who wants to buy or sell a home. And there's well over a dozen different types of ads on Facebook. One in particular actually has a lead form that's built in, like a contact form that somebody can fill out and send their information to a business. So we're doing this for realtors, and we're getting leads for realtors all around the country, in all kinds of markets, in all kind of niches, and I mean that's a big part of what we do. But from that to doctors, chiropractors that are looking for patients, businesses that sell products online. There's different strategies for each type of industry and each type of business depending on what they want to accomplish. Some businesses might just want to get their name out there either in a community or around the country, to people who either fit their demographic or they're interested in, the types of products that particular company offers, all the way to, some companies might want traffic to their website. They just want to get more people to their website, and there's going to be a different strategy for that. Some companies are going to want leads, like a realtor. So there's several different approaches we can take, and I mean we're getting results for our clients at every level.
Yeah, we have more success stories than we have time to keep up with.
Can I share one locally that we have?
Sure.
Did you guys, who here knew or saw the Iron Chef event that happened through Orca in April? Did anybody see that? I know Becky did. Did you see that?
I saw that. I didn't actually.
You didn't get to go, yeah. So we partnered with Neptune Birch, who did the video, and we did the promotion for that, which we were really excited about, because in Coos Bay locally, we were able to get, Joe, what was the percentage on that? Like, how much of the population saw that in Coos County?
Over 15,000 views combined on the 3 videos for the Iron Chef. So they helped out by putting an ad out there. Before they put it out there, people were sharing videos organically, like, hey, there's this cool video, so I send it to you, and I send it to you. That was going along. And the whole point of this was to get people to go to the Iron Chef event, which is raising money for Orca's food share program and for Head Start to get kids and families what they need. So the whole goal of it is to fill those seats. The ad comes out, and then it reached over 15,000 people in Coos Bay North Bend community.
So this is the power of social media, and
Way cheaper than TV.
way cheaper than TV. And in this community, especially, I will say, y'all love Facebook. Like, people are on Facebook in Coos County like crazy. And so we were able to accomplish something that created a buzz. It created awareness for a nonprofit, and that happened through social media and social media advertising. And that was a really fun project for us to be a part of.
Well, to give you just a little snapshot of some of the things you can accomplish, and using that as an example, it extends a lot further beyond just targeting a specific audience or demographic and putting something out there and hoping it sticks. So what we did was there was these series of videos introducing each chef for the event, and we put them out sequentially, over the course of a week or so. And what we did was captured the people who actually watched the video. So we could create an audience on Facebook in our platform, in the advertising platform, of people who actually watched the video, say 50% of it, they're 3 minutes each or something like that. So anyone who watched 90 seconds of a video and then delivered them a more specific ad for actually purchasing tickets for the event. So at the top level, we're just raising awareness, we're reaching a lot of people, getting interest, getting exposure for the event. Anybody who was engaged with that, we actually delivered them something for them to purchase tickets.
Which makes ad spend more efficient, because that way we're only delivering ad spend on dollars to people that we know have already expressed an interest.
So the people seeing the ad to actually purchase the tickets for the event had already seen something about it, and they've already engaged because they took 90 seconds, which if you're on Facebook, 90 seconds is, that's a long time. Attention spans, shorter and shorter. So, and from that, we saw traffic to the ticket purchase page. I'm not sure exactly what the attendance was, but I think it was above what was expected for the event. And I mean, certainly there was.
We accomplished the goal.
So what would a budget for something like that be?
It's really going to range, for the population. At the top level. So if we're showing these videos to as many people as we can, that's going to be the most expensive.
You're doing something local. Like that.
Yeah. So and we're talking, what's Coos County, 30,000 or so, 50,000,
50.
60. Okay. So.
The ground surrounding.
Coos County.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, that probably about $150 spent on that over the course of a week, and then the people who actually watched the video, that was maybe several hundred, maybe 1,000 people. Maybe it was more than that, but it's a smaller audience, so it's actually going to be cheaper to reach a smaller audience because you ultimately pay to reach people.
Are you pay per click
Well, you pay actually for reaching the people. So.
or pay per lead or is that?
Yeah. I find that in groups too, where like you get like 1,000 reaches or 1,100, and then about 20 people see it, and then maybe like 10 people or 5 people respond, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's ultimately cheaper to reach a higher engaged group, and these are people that are worth more to you, but it actually becomes less expensive to reach people who have taken an action. So, that was an example of collecting people who watched a video and then showing them a more specific ad. But, say if you have a business that has a website, we could do something to drive traffic there and then create an audience of people who went to the website and then show them a more specific ad.
So did you orchestrate the videos? Did you do the video production?
Neptune Birch did the videos, the
You
man
did
in the
the
back.
video production?
Yeah.
But the 150 didn't include this.
It did not.
That was just what Facebook got paid.
Yeah, that was just
to
the
display
that was
the
just
ad.
the promotion. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you have products and they have websites, do you drive them directly to the page that has the product on, or is it the front page?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Both. Yeah. New traffic, homepage probably retargeted to specific products they've looked at. Retargeted meaning somebody that's already been to the website.
Right.
You have an ad to get them to come back to the website. We all go online and we see ads for stuff that we've already looked at before.
Yeah.
So yeah, usually cold traffic, new traffic, homepage, retargeted, something more specific.
Now, a lot of advertising that we do through an agency, and the agent gets the commission, and that's how they're funded. How does it work with you guys?
We don't do commission. We do flat rates or management fees. So people just pay us a flat rate, which is usually something smaller or nominal, or they'll pay us a fee to manage something, and then they pay the Facebook spend.
Here are some of the examples I put. You got the real estate. Yeah.
Oh yeah, those. So every ad on Facebook, the structure of an ad, it's all uniform. What's custom for an ad is what the ad says, what graphic that you use, image, video, whatever it may be, and who the ad's targeted to, how the ad's optimized, and what happens after somebody clicks on the ad. So all the ads, basically everything, anybody that uses Facebook, you know that pretty much everything that shows up in your news feed is about the same size, roughly. Nothing's like different fonts, different colors. It's all very uniform. So it just comes down to your creative, your targeting, the optimization of the ad, and again, what's going to happen after somebody clicks an ad? Are they going to a website, or going to a Facebook page? Are they going to a landing page? There's a whole host of different places that somebody might land after clicking.
In your management, do you write ad copies?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you help orchestrate that?
Yeah, the client really doesn't do.
Storyboard for the
Yeah,
video?
the only thing the clients really do is provide content, pictures, videos. We can do that as well too, but anything that we do is of course most likely going to be stock, stock photos, stock content,
Or some graphic design.
or yeah, some sort of graphic design.
Whiteboard sort of thing?
It totally just depends on industry. In some industries, videos work better. You can make a slideshow video, kind of like that. This is a slideshow. Some industries, single images work better. So it kind of really varies from industry to industry.
For these slideshows, is it you like stay to 3 or something? Because the attention span is so low, 1 or 2. Or...
Yeah, you usually want to keep your videos or your slideshow videos shorter for the most part. But it can depend. I mean, I have some ads running right now that are probably 5 or 6 minutes long. And those ads are usually testimonials from clients or customers of clients that are trying to get more clients for that business. So people do have some attention spans on Facebook sometimes. You can run some longer content. Just depends on how compelling your message is and how interested people are.
Yeah.
If you're trying to sell somebody a t-shirt, they don't need to watch a 6-minute video.
Right, definitely.
But if you're trying to get somebody to buy a house or sign up for some sort of medical service that costs thousands of dollars and it's a big decision, they might watch something for 4 or 5 minutes and see what somebody else has experienced. So again, that's going back to your question, why would somebody hire us? All of these things just kind of come down to experience and strategy.
Yeah, I mean, there's like literally thousands of categories, I think.
Yeah.
And then, as you said before, it's also the people that have already responded to the ads. How do you keep them as customers too, or at least you still know that you exist? Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the strategy is people that have either clicked or liked or commented or taken some sort of action but not yet have bought. Then you want to show those people another ad, and you want to find a way to capture those people.
I mean, that's a really big part of it. And regarding the questions, why would you have us do that versus just going on Facebook and creating an ad yourself? It's there's kind of a surface level, where the platform's pretty intuitive. You plug in a photo, you write something that you think it sounds all right, and just kind of let it run. You're going to reach people because you're paying Facebook, and they're going to show the ad. But how it performs, and then adjusting from there, that's probably as far as most people would get, if they don't have the experience or fully understand the strategies or the optimizations, which, there's several different ways to optimize an ad. I think we mentioned this, but if you want to get traffic to your website, you're going to optimize it a certain way. If you want to get likes for your Facebook business page, you're going to optimize it a certain way. If you want to get people to engage, you're going to optimize it a certain way, and it's going to be written in a certain way. And the ad creative overall, the type of graphic, whether or not to use a video, if you're there's best practices there at every stage that unless you have years of experience and hundreds of hours of research and education, that a lot of people end up just throwing their money away. And you might see, hey, I got some clicks, I got some likes, I get, some people saw me, and there's some value there, but to actually make your dollar go further and implement the strategies that are going to actually accomplish what you want to accomplish, again, whether it's a purchase or somebody liking your page or booking your vacation rental or whatever it may be, I mean, there's a really methodic, strategy, kind of for every objective.
So do you manage YouTube too?
We don't.
Do you advise your clients if their product is, say, overpriced and you have a lot of hits, but they're out of the ballpark?
Yeah, I mean, that's really touchy, because business owners are proud people, whether, well, some more than others, but it's a tough conversation to have. And, there's knowledge that we have on our end, just working with businesses and seeing other companies that do what we do, that work with businesses, that, there's a point where, we're doing all the right things, but your website sucks, or your product's overpriced, or it's just not good, or whatever. And it's like, Seth alluded to this earlier, if the product isn't good, if it's not something that's going to sell in a store or somewhere else, it's not going to work on Facebook either, because there's not some magic formula that just makes it work. But having that conversation's tough, and I mean, I don't know, it's maybe someday we'll find the words, to deliver that a little better, but we haven't really had that conversation much, although maybe it's about time we should.
If I run a program to cover the Coos Bay area, Coos County area, how many people am I gonna reach on Facebook? What's the demographic?
I mean, generally, so I think the numbers are, in the United States, about 8 out of 10 Americans have Facebook accounts.
I'm talking about Coos County.
But,
A little different there.
Yeah,
People,
I don't know
we got
exactly what the numbers are.
60,000, I'm real concerned about that because when I run a video station, and it's really hard to get demographics. So if I'm gonna tell somebody I'm gonna produce a video for them, I can't tell them how many people they're gonna reach, because this is Coos County. We've got people 10 feet from downtown that have never seen a computer, much less Facebook.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Out of the 63,000 people, how many am I gonna reach by using Facebook or one of your programs?
So if we create an ad campaign and say you want to reach, men and women between 28 and 65 plus who are interested in XYZ, there will be a number that Facebook gives us that will tell us how many people are in that audience. So it'll tell us there's 15,000 people in that audience. Now that's total. And then so depending on what you spend, ultimately will determine how many of those people you reach and how quickly. So you can project how many, as an aggregate, make up that audience, but then how many people you actually reach, that becomes another projection. And it's based on if you spend $1 a day or $100 a day. But you can both project that and monitor it ongoing, because everything's quantifiable. We can say, oh, this ad reached 150 people today.
Let me ask you differently. You ran a program in Coos Bay for the Ironman, Iron Chef. About how many people did that reach?
About 15,000.
And just anecdotally from the groups as an aggregate, I think there's about like 10,000 people, at least the ones that I've got most of them in the area. So, because I put our South Coast Inventors, every month here. So.
In groups that you're a part of?
Yeah, in groups that I'm part of, yeah.
So I guess what Jim's trying to ask, in the sense that, okay, you have 15,000 people, but I really suspect a lot of those folks are outside of the area, not here in the area itself.
Well, you can target people who live in the area, or you can target everyone in the area. So depending on what you want to accomplish or who you want to reach, if you're in a community like this and you want to reach residents of the area, you can actually target that.
Yeah, well, I mean, people put their
You can-
address.
Yeah, you can just
Facebook knows where people
Well,
live.
because,
Yeah.
and just the simple math is, you got 60,000 people here. You divide that by 2, because you're assuming there's 2 people living in each other residence.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's 30,000 people. And you take that and divide that by another sum, and you're probably still only looking at about 15, 20,000 people max that you're going to wind up hitting in the area with Facebook. even with a population of 60.
Well, you're not targeting by residents.
Yeah, it's not by address. So when you're connected to an internet connection or your cell, service,
Right.
there's a GPS there. There's a physical location associated with it. So it's not by address. It's just by where you are. And
So
I think if we're targeting by people who live in the area, it's going to be calculated by percentage of usage in a particular area. So if you use Facebook mostly in Eugene, but you're in Coos Bay, you're probably not going to see an ad that's targeted to people who live here. If you use Facebook 95% of the time in Coos Bay, then you're probably, or Coos County, wherever it may be, then you're going to be picked up in that audience. There's always going to be some variance, but it's pretty precise too.
Just want to keep the Q&A going.
I'm curious on that chef thing, how many people bought tickets? You're kind of throwing numbers
Ooh,
around again.
can you ask Becky
We
too?
saw
I
15,000
know, I
people.
know, I
Did
should have
8
brought that
people
up.
buy tickets? I
So
mean,
it's sold out, the event
and
sold
what's
out.
that, 10 people, 8 people,
The
20
event was
people?
700 people or more.
700,
It was
okay.
at the North Bend Community Center. You guys have all seen that. That building,
Right.
everyone has weddings there. So we actually ended up going over our number. We said we're gonna let in 600 or so, and the people showed up to the door. So it's
It
really,
was
I don't know the
a
exact
substantial
metrics of
number.
it, but.
It was, and also to be fair, the reason that it was such an incredible marketing push is because it was the first time that event ever happened in the community. And that was the big thing with the video and the social media marketing piece, is that we had to get the word out to you guys that this is something new, you had never heard about it, and we want you to go. And lo and behold, the community showed up and it was phenomenal.
Well, I think I'm connected, I never even heard it.
Wow.
So the whole
No.
and everything else, so I don't know where I was at that time.
Yeah, they were all over.
Well, if there's 60,000 people here, you can probably generally figure that at least 50% of people are on Facebook. So if to kind of go back to his question,
One of the irritations I have on the internet with companies' products, the willingness or not willingness to share the price. I want to get a product, I know a price range, and fill out this long form and we'll tell you how much it is. And,
Yeah.
I think that people really need to be educated, that advertise to say, look, there's a block of people, if you don't tell me the basics, I won't do it. As an Amazon, I go there and almost every product right away, a description and a price is listed.
Sure. I mean,
Amazon's a website that sells products, and Facebook is a place where anybody can advertise. So if somebody wanted to make something and not disclose the
Right,
price,
but
it's
that's one of my points.
yeah.
People need to be educated, or companies, look, do this, otherwise I'm just roll right by your ad. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people will do the same.
Well,
thing.
it's gonna be economics 101 then, right? If those ads aren't successful, people aren't gonna continue to pay for those ads to not get a response. So, and if they do get a response, people are gonna keep making ads like that,
Just where we live, people advertise their property for 3 times more than it's worth. It'll be on the, web or for sale for 1 million years, no one's gonna touch it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's through ignorance or no one educates them to say, this property is worth this price range. So once you're in there, you're gonna get some real hits.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to speculate as to what, everybody, 2 billion different people think.
It's like on Amazon, sometimes you see a book, because I look at books on them, you see them for hundreds of dollars, and then you can find it for $9.99.
Used one.
Yeah.
But there's gonna be somebody that's gonna think, wow,
That's a great deal. Yeah.
oh, yeah, it's just
Yeah.
what I'm looking for, I'm gonna pay that much money.
Or they won't sell the book.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes to get a click and to get people in the door, which, I mean, that's our job, is to get people clicking, generate interest. There may be merit to withholding a price just so people click to see it. I mean, if there's any point in that process where there's a deterrent, like filling out a bunch of information, we're not going to take that approach because people are going to just keep going, like you said. And sometimes we're at the mercy of the advertiser. They they want to display the price, they don't want to display the price, and we're gonna put together something that they're happy with
Right.
ultimately.
My suggestion to you is to, be more upfront with the people that talk to you and say, look, the success rate, unless you do this,
Mhm.
is really gonna be low.
The other thing though, I think is oftentimes they have ads where, it's 10 or 20% off, so they go there and say, oh, 10% off, but then they go to the price, and even though it's a higher number, because it's lower that one time, even though it may not necessarily be lower, it could be like a 20% off forever kind of a thing. That can entice people, right? Yeah,
A lot of ways to advertise.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, depending on the service or the industry, I think we encourage people to offer some kind of value proposition, where, you claim an offer for 10%, 20% off, or, a buy one, get one free or something like that. But yeah, like Seth said, there's a lot of ways to advertise, and it's just so case by case, and there's, a range of options,
Are
so.
most of your clients larger corporations?
No?
We work with small to medium-sized businesses. So a lot of the times when we reach out to people, it's, they don't have the time because they're busy business owners. And then of course the knowledge, a lot of people we talk to have tried it. Most people we encounter at this point have tried something on Facebook. So when we talk to them about what we can do for them, they want somebody that has been in the system. We sell their brains, essentially. We sell our expertise and our knowledge because that is actually going to accomplish their goal. And so we don't work with large corporations. We work with mainly small to medium-sized businesses.
Anything
I like
else?
the idea of a flat rate, because otherwise I feel like somebody's trying to manipulate me, or it's a gimmick or something when they say.
Simpler
so
that
much
way,
off,
for sure.
That's a red flag.
Easier for the budget too, to
Yeah.
know exactly what that cost is.
Right.
Yeah, what is the hottest growing area in the United States by geographic region?
For population or
No, I mean, business activities. In other words,
businesses?
Is Alaska hot? Is Hawaii hot? Is the Pacific Northwest hot? Is Southeast a good area? I'm just kind of curious about across the country. How the
Yeah, I don't know, and we may know more. We may know more about that if we kind of targeted specific areas. But
We're fortunate enough to where we don't have to be that specific. There's a huge demand for what we do, and there's probably a lot more businesses that need the services that we offer than are actually available. So we really don't have to be that selective and picky in trying to find places where businesses are growing, or people are doing pretty well across the country right now. Businesses are doing pretty well, so it really doesn't matter too much.
yeah, and I think we can benefit anyone. I think there may be companies, businesses in areas like that where there's more economic growth and stimulation that maybe they have an internal team doing these kinds of things, and I think we really enjoy working with businesses that you don't have the resources for that, or that are in smaller communities that they haven't taken the right steps to do some of the things that we can do for them, and we can actually help them get customers, get clients, get exposure, whatever it is that they need.
So that makes for a really good ad.
Something compelling, a reason to give somebody to stop what they're doing on Facebook, see your ad, and take an action. The more you can capture somebody's attention and get them to stop and do something that they hadn't planned to do and get them to take an action they hadn't planned to take, the better your ad's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Puppies and kids.
Yeah,
Those are the two.
those
Like cat videos are right up there.
yeah,
That's good for at least.
some of that's gone away a little bit, and
Yeah.
as far as the advertising goes, but that maybe at one point was a bit of a strategy. Again, there's a lot of variance there because you have to consider the audience. So on the top level, one way or the other, it has to be engaging or speak to that audience. And people are on social media engaging with people. It's a little more kind of free flowing, a little more informal. And so you kind of have to consider that and write something that speaks to that user, speaks to that person that's being targeted. Anything that's ran that's going to have success is going to be visually appealing too. Videos are really important in that, and businesses that are investing in video production and then taking the steps to promote it through things like what we can offer.
Video over slideshow.
Well, a slideshow is a video on Facebook. So, I think a nice, well-produced, engaging, attention-grabbing video is probably going to do better. But videos perform better than just like still images typically. So you could do a slideshow video and maybe still get a little more out of it.
So what about organic growth of the social media as far as businesses are concerned?
It's tough.
You got to be ahead of the curve. It only gets harder and harder. If you would have started on Facebook 10 years ago, it would have been a lot easier to build your fan base then than it is now. So.
And if you haven't, it's almost obsolete because of the barriers there are now to growing that organically, which certainly, benefits us ultimately. That's why people need us more and more, is because the paid advertising on social media and on Facebook are really going to be the only way to reach your audience and reach a large amount of people at a high enough frequency. Facebook users every day have more and more connections, more friends on Facebook. They follow more pages. They're a part of more groups. So what that means is that there's more content competing for space in the newsfeed. So over time, Facebook has changed their algorithm, for the newsfeed, which basically determines what content people see. So you're not seeing everything from everyone anymore like you were before. You're only going to see what Facebook understands to be what's most relevant to you, based on what you like, who your friends are, things you talk about on Facebook. And so what that means is a business with a Facebook business page is going to reach less and less people because less and less people are engaged. And then it gets harder and harder to get that engagement, and that's really the only way that can perform well is if people are engaging, clicking like, commenting, sharing, whatever action they would take. Again.
But the only way you can really get it organically now is through groups. That's about it.
That's true.
That's the only thing.
So, like what's happening in Coos County?
Yeah, that's how.
I've seen so much stuff.
Yeah, that's how I get the word out for this place, is just from all the people in the groups.
Yeah, it's a great way.
But other than that, unless you have, like 1,000 quote unquote friends who you can share that all throughout, you really, you're gonna be behind. There's no way you could really do it. I agree with you guys.
Yeah, and you're more likely to see a post from a group you're in than you are from a post from, a friend or from a page you follow. So that kind of is the last way to get reach people organically.
If I'm an inventor and I'm looking for somebody to partner by my invention, doesn't seem like Facebook would be the best social media to jump into. Is there something else that would work better than that?
Why do you say that? What are you trying to avoid that Facebook?
I'm looking for high-end people. I'm not looking for somebody that is on Facebook for
He's looking for
12 hours a
Yeah,
day.
okay.
Like an angel investor or somebody that's
Sure.
got 30 million that
Yeah.
wants to invest now.
There's people that have money on Facebook. We advertise properties that are multi-million-dollar properties on
Properties.
Facebook.
Right.
But so there's people that have money that are on Facebook, but probably not spending a ton of time there. Somebody that's worth 8 figures plus, probably doesn't spend a ton of time on Facebook. But if you did want to try and find somebody organically, aside from forums like Reddit, for example, if you've ever heard of Reddit. Reddit, yeah, reddit.com. It's just a big internet forum. Aside from that, as he mentioned, groups on Facebook are a great way to connect with people. Groups are a little bit different in that instead of being connected to an individual like a friend, you're connected to a group of people, and everybody has the ability to communicate. And what defines those groups are usually based on interests. So you can find other groups on Facebook of investors or inventors and connect with people, network with people. So
There's always LinkedIn too. I guess.
yeah, LinkedIn.
Yeah. So,
LinkedIn,
So
Reddit.
if you're dividing, let's say, the two groups, camps up, is what I'm kind of hearing here, is that you got the groups in which you're associated with on Facebook, and then you got the individuals, in a sense, your friends. Is that how you? Because
You have
I can
friends,
see
groups, and you also have pages,
Okay.
business pages.
business pages.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
because
primarily
what
what people see, is
Yeah,
posts
because-
from their friends, groups, and
Right,
pages.
because I mean, I limit what I put on Facebook as far as who I am. You know,
Mhm.
I don't go out there and blab everything on,
Mhm.
what's on there now. I have
Yeah.
friends who do that. That's wonderful, but I know from that point of view is that, if you decided that I wanted to look for something, or you wanted to promote something to me, I'm gonna be that narrow person that probably makes up maybe 10, 15, 20% of Facebook that doesn't divulge everything on there, versus, let's say, a group that basically, let's say, I'm an engineer, I'm an optical engineer, and there's a
Yeah.
group of optical engineers,
Yeah.
and I wanna sell my book to those optical
Yeah.
engineers, but there's only, 1,000
Well,
of them.
Facebook infers more about you from
Right.
your actions and the things that you're a part of, more
Right.
so than the things that you post.
Right.
So although you're not posting anything, they know quite a
It's
bit about
creepy.
you.
Yeah, if you
Oh,
stop,
I know,
if
I
you
know.
stop at an image.
Which is why it makes it so good for guys like you.
Yeah, that's why I
Right.
purposely, that's why I purposely coded
Yeah,
everything.
it's called I think it's a social selfie. It's a plugin for Firefox. And it literally tells me what Facebook thinks I am. Like, it's really interesting.
You can download that directly from Facebook too. All the
Yeah.
information that they have about you,
That's right, yeah.
all the things that they believe you're interested in based on your behavior online and on Facebook. You can actually go to Facebook and download it, and you can clear it too if you want.
So you mentioned there's friends groups, business pages. Can you explain the story page or story? What is that all about?
Oh, story on Facebook. Well, story would be unique to usually your friends or somebody you're connected with. I don't think you see too many stories unless they're paid, promoted.
Business page.
Pages can do a story.
Yeah, okay, yeah, pages. A story it was something that was carried over from Instagram, which came originally from Snapchat. A story is just a way for people to share something that typically just lasts for 24 hours. That stories go away after 24 hours. And this is all organic stuff, which we don't do a ton of. We just mostly do paid.
So why would you want that?
Well, from a business perspective, it's not something that we really do too much. That's more on the organic side.
I think, yeah, from a business perspective, it's probably just like giving somebody a glimpse into what you're doing that day. If you're working on a particular product line, or if you're, doing a deal on something, whatever it may be, it's definitely kind of a newer form of organic content, maybe in the last 2 years.
Is it in a different algorithm, the way it's
I believe right now you would just see stories from anybody you're connected to.
so everybody sees it?
Everybody that follows your page, for example, would be able to see it. Yeah, the kind of the intent or what people use it for is it's just kind of a snapshot into what's going on that day, or you might say a couple words. Hey, thanks for following my page. Buy my stuff.
Yeah, I guess it would be for
Yeah.
businesses that have really engaged fans that are willing to pay attention to a business every single day. So when I go on Facebook, there's certain businesses that maybe I want to see once a month, and certain ones that maybe I do want to see once a day, more than once a day. Like ESPN, for example. I'm willing to look at 10 different things from ESPN every day, but I might not be willing to look at 10 different things from another business every single day. So stories are for people that want to update content every 24 hours, for fans and people that really want to pay attention to those people that frequently.
Can you do more than one story a day?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think they're 10 seconds a piece, so it's just segmented that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of giving somebody a behind the scenes look. Again, speaking from a business standpoint, and that creates more engagement, more of an emotional connection, to a business.
I think it's always live too, right? Like you wouldn't make a video necessarily and upload it to a story. You
Well, yeah,
usually-
it's just the same as Snapchat.
Yeah,
Instagram.
a story you would be with your
You shoot
phone
it live.
live.
Yeah, you just shoot it and then
Yeah.
it posts. Yeah, and then
So
it's
there's
on the
not
next
much
day.
production that goes into a story. It's just kind of like Paul's saying. It's just if
It's-
a business wants to give you an intimate look
It's authentic.
frequently
And it's 10 seconds.
Yeah, but you could
per
do
clip,
another.
you could
yeah,
do multiple
yeah.
clips, stitch a bunch of clips together.
I think up to 60. Up to 60 seconds.
If you're a restaurant maybe and you want to show a few different clips of the cooking, the
Yeah, here's the
process in
specials
the
for the
beginning.
day. You know.
Yeah.
Biggest lobster we've ever seen. sort of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, we just caught this. We're cooking it tonight. You know. Something like that.
Creative with it, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else before we hit the road back to Portland?
No, thank you.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah. I think the big takeaway for you guys is if you're somebody that's an inventor or a business owner, and this isn't exactly news, but the internet is the best place to reach more people that you're not connected to, and social media, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, is the places on the internet where people are spending the most amount of time. So if you want to connect to people that you don't know, those are the places to do it. As he mentioned, for Facebook groups, if you guys are on Facebook, check it out. Just do a search and search for maybe something that you have an interest in, whether it's inventing or
Oh, yeah,
could
they
be
all- they-
cars
yeah.
or knitting or fishing. There's groups for just about everything that you can think of, and you can join those groups and have conversations with like-minded people.
I mean, it could be anything. It could be like stamp collecting. And it's
Anything.
No
Yeah.
matter
Yeah.
what you can think of.
Anything.
There's a group there.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Yeah. Hey, and we'll leave some business